Holy peak. Just a genuinely good person. Let's talk about Superman. James Gunn's Superman is finally out, and it's probably the most anticipated movie of the year. Yes, Fantastic Four is also coming out this month, but there's a ton of other great Marvel movies that you can watch to cleanse your palate if this one fails. Unlike DC, in the last 12 years, there's not a lot of great movies that we can go off of when it comes to watching DC. So yes, James Gunn had a big pill to swallow. With James Gunn taking over the DC, that makes him the Kevin Feige of this universe. Also meaning that Superman is like our Iron Man. It's setting the tone of what this new DC is going to be. For the past 12 years, DC's had flop after flop, letting Marvel dominate the box office. And that was really solidified in 2016 when we had Civil War versus Batman v Superman. And we know Batman v Superman was absolutely terrible. And that just kind of solidified for everyone that Marvel was the dominating superhero studio. So for over a decade, DC's Kevin Feige was Zack Snyder. He oversaw DC and wanted to do something different from Marvel for some reason, and making their most beloved character, Superman, dark. And yes, I'll say I was a Zack Snyder defender. I mean, after seeing that Snyder cut, that 4 hours of peak cinema, I was a Zack Snyder defender. But it was already too late by the time that movie came out, because before that, we've had 10 years of terrible movies. So nobody had faith in Zack Snyder. So by the time James Gunn came in, he was the only one making DC money. His movies were well-paced, fun, well-written. And so they had to say goodbye to Zack Snyder and hello to James Gunn. And so now he's the one overseeing DC. And that's what we mean by, with this Superman movie, he had to set the tone, because there was no room for error like Marvel can give us. Because, I mean, we had Infinity War, we had Endgame, we had Civil War, we had Winter Soldier. Can you tell that those are all Russo brother movies? We've had other great movies from the MCU, from other directors or whatever, but Russo brothers really are the ones taking over. But anyways, James Gunn had absolutely one chance, but I didn't doubt him for a second, okay? I knew James Gunn was going to be the person to really bring it for Superman, because I love Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I love Peacemaker, and also Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad, when I talk about it to my dad, he's not a Suicide Squad fan, James Gunn's, but I am. I love all of James Gunn's projects, so I knew that Superman was going to be what it was. I trusted that he would give us what we needed from this comic book character. Speaking of comic book, as I was watching this movie, it felt like I was flipping through pages of an actual Superman comic book. I love that Superman saved everyone, and I mean everyone down to the smallest squirrel, which isn't something you'd even see from MCU's Captain America. That's why I say MCU, because I know people are going to come from me being like, well, actually, in the comic books, I don't watch the comic books, right? I only know the movies. I don't, and I'm very adamant about how I only watch comic book movies. I don't know anything about comics. Not gonna read them. I don't have time. There's too many movies. Too many comic books. I'm not gonna read them. It's not gonna happen. Anyways, the movie was so saturated, satisfying, and silly. And when I mean silly, I mean that the villain was so villainous that we're creating pocket universes, black holes, clones, just because we hate a guy so badly. Like, that's what I mean. That's what I need from a villain, from a goofy comic book villain. That's a true comic book villain. One scene that made me turn to my dad was when Superman saved this woman and took her to the rooftop and told her that she was going to be okay. Like, when was the last time we had saw that? The last time we saw that was Spider-Man 2002, when he would swing somebody, he would save somebody, swing them and to the rooftop and be like, you're going to be okay. And I'm like, it's simple things like that that I miss from superhero movies. Like, we don't always need to be in space doing this galactical big thing. I want to see the small things of saving just us, saving the humans and saving people. I love that in this movie that Superman was the only one, because speaking of all the other characters like Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific, which we will get into, they were a little bit more morally gray, but we had this one character, Superman, that was not morally gray. And I feel like we've lost the plot with superheroes, where we're always having this morally gray person that's like, oh, we're good, but sometimes I'm bad. Yes, that's humans. Ugh, yes, okay, we're sometimes morally gray. Blah, blah. But Superman is perfect. Give us a perfect character. Give us something that's unrealistic, okay? Because give us something that's unrealistic, because it's fake. It's a comic book movie. I can get a little bit mad about this. Now we're going on tangents. I can get mad about this because I'm sick. I'm sick of like, now I'm getting loud. Oh, it has to all be real. It has to be realistic. No, it doesn't. We have CGI. If I have CGI, I want fake. I want a hole in the middle of the universe. I want a man that's good. Oh, that's actually, let's get into that. Oh, that's so unrealistic. It's unrealistic to have a good man. That's how we know that, that's how bad the world is. Now to this point that having a good man is seen as unrealistic. I think that's the funniest thing in my whole life. Oh my gosh. So, no, I want fake. I, want something that's so goofy and like I was already saying, goofy and comic. So I want a split in the middle of the earth. I want a black hole. I want a supervillain that's so smart that he can make a pocket universe. I probably already said that. And he can make a clone of a alien from a different planet. He's so smart. I don't care. I don't need an explanation. He's just so smart. I want a man that's so good that he'll never do wrong and he saves everyone. And I mean everyone. When the pocket universe happened and there was building, me and my dad were talking about it, and there was buildings falling, my dad was like, there's no way he saved everyone in those buildings. I'm like, they evacuated in time. Everyone evacuated in time, and if they didn't, Superman's fast enough to go to every building and every room. I don't care. Every building, every room, every staircase, and check all the buildings in time before all the buildings fall. They were all empty because Superman's perfect. I want something unrealistic. Thank you very much. Thank you, Natalia. You get me. Because no, like, you get me. You want something fake. Like, why would I go to the movies to watch something realistic? Give me a man that does good and no wrong. Thank you, Natalia. Anyways, back to the movie. I do love that with this one, James Gunn started us in the middle of Superman's journey. 3 years after he already announced that he was Superman, 300 years after metahumans was already a thing. So that's what I really liked. I like that metahumans are already a thing that's already established. People have known for years. So it's a part of their regular everyday life. And so it allowed us to see something new like Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Mr. Terrific. One little thing in this movie that elevated it is that the civilians were just like, okay with metahumans. They were just so like, yeah, this is our everyday. I always have a bag packed. Like let's say I'm a civilian. Yeah, hi, from Metropolis. Hi. Yeah, I just have a bag consistently ready. And I have my phone on me at all times to make sure that I get that alert that says a mandatory evacuation. We get them probably once or twice a month. Pretty normal for us. But like metahumans, that's just a part of our everyday. My parents dealt with it. My grandparents, great-grandparents, and they told us the stories of all the other metahuman stuff. I don't know. This Superman came or whatever. Like, ugh, we've had this kind of guy before. You know what I mean? So that's what I loved about this, because I don't think we don't get that from other superhero movies. And I think, thinking back to Zack Snyder wanting to be like, oh, we want a darker superheroes because we want to be different from Marvel. You can still have good people in your movies, and you can make it fun and light and bright and still be different from Marvel, because that right there is different from Marvel. Is like having metahumans established and having your civilians different from Marvel civilians. So now getting to the other metahumans like Mr. Terrific, we had to talk about Eddie Gathegi. He's finally had his redemption arc after leaving the MCU, not the MCU, Marvel, aka Sony, aka X-Men, because his character in X-Men First Class got nerfed within the first 10 minutes, even though he's supposed to be able to adapt to anything. So I remember really liking that character and being disappointed in that. And I hadn't really seen Eddie in anything else. Probably he was in smaller projects, but I don't really watch small projects. I'm a blockbuster girly. And so now it's really great to see him back in a superhero role and having an incredible fight scene like he did, a classic James Gunn fight scene where you have the music going, you have the one shot, you have the really cool like choreography going. Eddie Gathegi definitely got his redemption, and just the character of Mr. Terrific was written well, and I feel like they picked the right person because I liked his deadpan kind of demeanor. He was a great partner with Superman. He was a great one to be like, Superman, come on, dude. Like sometimes you don't have to, he's like the morally gray person that's working with this other person that's just like, I just want to do good all the time. And then Mr. Terrific's here to be like, hey, we have to be a little bit realistic. So I liked that. With all that being said, Lois Lane is my favorite character in this movie. She reminds me why Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is my favorite Spider-Man, and it's because of Gwen Stacy. Gwen was a well-rounded character that actually contributed to the story. She wasn't just some like love interest on the side. She was an integral part of the story, and so was Lois Lane. She played a role in Lex Luthor's downfall. She was a great journalist, and she actually loved and cared for Clark. The chemistry between Rachel Brosnahan and David Cornsweet was incredible, and I just feel like James Gunn did well when casting this entire movie, but definitely for Lois Lane and Clark, they made sense. Definitely better than Captain America and Peggy Carter, forgot their names, Chris Evans and Girl. Their chemistry is there, but Lois Lane and Clark will always be, I'm already in. I'm already saying they're better than Captain America and Peggy Carter. This movie used its entire 2 hour and 9 minute runtime to its absolute fullest, because we even got a scene of Clark at his home in Kansas. Seeing how much his parents cared about him just showed how much of a human he is, more than just Superman. He's more of a man. He was born and raised in Kansas, in America. Like, yes, he's from Krypton, whatever, but he came here as a baby, which, are you picking up what I'm putting down? He came here as a baby. He was even though he was born somewhere else, he was raised here, picking up what I'm putting down. He was raised here, so he's American. He loves family, and he loves his Kansas family, and he has his morals because he was raised here. It doesn't matter where he came from, right? It was from where he was raised. Picking up what I'm putting down. I'm not gonna decipher for you. Just decipher what I'm saying. Okay? It's an immigrant story. Overall, this movie was so good. And of course, I'm not gonna forget Crypto, okay? Crypto was so cute and annoying, but an integral part to the story. There's a man's best friend that is so like, you have to have that in superheroes. You have to have the man's best friend. Like, come on. And so Crypto was so cute. And I can't wait to see more of Crypto and Supergirl, which is the next movie to come out. Like I said, this movie is peak. Every scene that is in this movie is important. So you don't really get a time, like your brain doesn't really get time to take a break, because every scene that you're watching is important. They were like, this 2 hours you're gonna sit here is going to be important. You're not gonna have a lull. You're not gonna have like, oh my gosh, this is not important. Every character, every scene, the cinematography, the stitching of finally we're hiring back our seamstresses, which is like probably their third most important role in movie making. Bring back the seamstresses. I've been saying this since 2016 when Civil War came out and Iron Man was in a CGI suit and you can see that he had a floating head. I hated that. I hate that, because going back to 2008, because how are we regressing? Going back to 2008, he had a suit on. Right? So we go to 2016 and he has a floating head. So yes, bring back the seamstresses. Everybody was wearing a suit that fit them. You know, went down to their wrists, was fitting them nice. Thank you so much. And James Gunn really said, turn up the saturation. It was beautifully colored. It was like a comic book. I could say that 110,000 times. So what do I give this rating for this movie? What do I give it? As a superhero girl, if you look around my apartment, I have Funko Pops, I have posters of Marvel everywhere, because Marvel has been a part of my life since 2008. I love everything superhero. You can't, I even the bad ones, I'll rewatch at least 3 to 4 times. So what do I give this DC movie? Ugh, DC. I give it a 10 out of 10. I genuinely give it a 10 out of 10. Not a 9 out of 10, not a 9.5 out of 10, not an 8 out of 10, a 10 out of 10. This is how you make a superhero movie. This is how you write a hero. I needed this. You understand how many times I've seen this movie just in the last week? Are you kidding me? And I'm going to go see it a few more times. Incredible. A genuine 10 out of 10. James, you've set the standard. When you make a movie like this, you've set the standard. So now you have to keep that standard when it comes to the next movies you make. So have you seen Superman yet? If you have, make sure to leave a comment down below. If you haven't, go watch it. How'd you make it this far into this video and you haven't seen Superman yet? Make sure to comment what movies you want me to review next, and make sure to subscribe and like. See you next time. Bye.